Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Football with Alan Smith. And yes, aftermath of the UEFA Europa League final, we've seen Tottenham Hotspur finally winning the trophy for the first time since 2012. The Europa League final, which went down in the city of Bilbao, a game whereby Ange Postecoglou, attained at the height of God status. It's incredible what he's been able to do with that Tottenham Hotspur team, a team that haven't won a trophy in years. For him to finally break that jinx, and what he said before your hand as well made it look actually remarkable, the experience and also what they've been able to do. A big shout out to Ange Postecoglou and every Tottenham Hotspur fan out there. They actually deserve this particular one. They worked so hard, especially in that final game, and they deserve to win this one. It's kudos and congrats to them. The big talk one we want to talk about this today is going to be about Manchester United and where they found themselves after the season that they've had. Should Ruben Amorim be still left in charge? Come the end of the season, there is still one more game to play for them. Should Ruben Amorim still be there at the helm of affair come next season? These are some of the talking points that we'll be focusing on today. Welcome once again. Please like, share, and subscribe if you can. Let's get into the mix. So today we'll be focusing on that particular game, and we'll be focusing on Man United and what has happened to them this season. It's been a season to forget for Ruben Amorim, a season to forget for the club. 16th on the Premier League table is something that I think a lot of people should be, getting the sack for this season that they've had. A lot of persons should actually be paying for what has happened this season, from those people in the boardroom to the players and even the manager. I mean, the management team as well. Yes, the technical crew. Talking about Amorim and his staff. Some persons need to pay. People need to pay for what has happened this season. They can't just go scot-free from what we've seen this season from this particular side. It all started from the summer when they had the chance to actually fire Erik ten Hag. But guess what? They kept him in charge because he won the FA Cup. And some of the fans were actually saying, I believe some fans were even having polls. They were not deciding. They didn't decide. They didn't decide earlier on that this man, after the season that they've had. Remember last season they finished middle of the pack. They finished mid-table, and the manager still got another chance to go into the new season. That was where the mediocrity started from. That was where they shot themselves in the foot. Talking about the owners, they could have made that bold call, make that decision even after they won the FA Cup. But guess what? They still kept Erik ten Hag, and this is where we found themselves. This is where they found themselves at the end of May. This is where all of these things this season, it was there. It was always looking at them. It was staring them in the face. And it's not surprised that this is how their season have ended. Ten Hag had a poor campaign last year. They finished mid-table. But guess what? They used the cup win to judge the entire duration of the season. I don't know who does that. I really don't know. But that was what the owners did. And like I said, a big own goal for them. They should have, after that FA Cup final, when Ten Hag won that particular FA Cup title, they should have told him, thank you very much for your job, but it's now time for us to move forward to the next manager on our shortlist. That was where they made the decision. Instead, they decided to keep Ten Hag, and here they are in this particular spot that they found themselves. We remember they started the season poorly as well, even with Ten Hag in charge. And guess what? They waited till November, December to give Ten Hag the boots. And when they did give him the boots, they went to Portugal and brought in a different manager who has a different kind of philosophy, who has one particular style of play with players that he doesn't have at his new club. United don't have the players to play the system this manager wants. And guess what? They now went to Portugal and brought in that same manager. And during the time they had a chance to actually make signings for him to help him, they only brought in one player, and that was Patrick Dogu. They lost Marcus Rashford in January, lost Anthony in January, and they didn't bring in any kind of replacement, losing two key players in that attack line. I know those guys were not delivering as much, but you can't just lose those numbers and just let it be and say, okay, we are still going to play. And they were still very much in 3 competitions. Yes, they were still mid-table in the Premier League then. So they could have still fight for maybe Europa League football then, or even the Champions League. They were still very much in the FA Cup then when it happened. They were still very much comfortable in their Champions League, in their Europa League chase as well. So all of these things, the owner knew that this man has 3 competitions to fight for. They didn't do any kind of signing. They didn't kind of help him in the January transfer window. And the only person they brought in was Patrick Dogu. So you could see that the signs were there earlier on. The signs were there early on that this was going to be their worst ever campaign. But a lot of people trusted the manager Amorim to maybe at least have that new manager bounce. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, they had a bit of new manager bounce when they went 12 games in a row without losing. This same man came in, and right from his first game against Ipswich Town, we could see that this is going to be a long season. It was always going to be a very long season. So where they found themselves right now, I believe everyone has a point, has themselves to blame, from the board members to the players to even him Amorim is same. The essence of what we are talking about the Amorim today is to know or talk about whether he should be given yet another summer or given another chance at the club, or should he be fired. Well, after the Europa League final, there were a lot of fans are already, the top fan base right now is currently toxic. There are people that still want Amorim to be given a chance. There are people that they're actually calling for him to be sacked. Some are saying some of the players are to be blamed, while others are saying the manager has to take fair share of the blame. But what we saw from them in the Europa League final is unacceptable. From the players' point of view to the manager's point of view, I mean, all of them can actually look at themselves and say, we didn't really turn up for this final. It's not something that you want to see in a final game. You want to see the players fighting, proving everything. That was what Tottenham Hotspur were able to do. Same Tottenham Hotspur, they were also having similar kind of season as them. They were actually able to give their own and fight till the end. And that is why they are champions today and United are not. United have the chance right now to go into the summer, do a proper clear out. There are players that are already living on a free transfer. Victor Lindelof contract has ended, will end at the end of the season. Christian Eriksen's contract will end at the end of the season. They are already looking at shipping out Anthony. They are looking at shipping out Jadon Sancho. They are also looking at selling Marcus Rashford, and they believe that they will get cash for some of those players and then use them to strengthen the team. There have been reports of Matthias Cunha also coming in, so we'll wait and see, and fingers crossed and see how they can, whether they will be able to complete that one, whether Matthias Cunha will not have a turnaround in his decision of wanting to sign for them. Yes, they said he has given them the award, but after what we've seen and what the team might likely be, where they will be come the beginning of next season, we don't know, but it doesn't look like it's something that they can sort out in one window. Some players need to leave that team. Not just players living on the free. Some players are not good enough for that team. We saw them in the final. They signed a player for 64 million. But guess what? The player did not get a single minute in their biggest game of the season. Talking about Manuel Ugarte. He didn't get a single minute. So these are some of the key decisions they need to make. They need to press the hard reset button on their season. They have a large squad, and you can't have a large squad when you don't have one game per week. They don't have European football next season, so there is no reason why to have a large squad. Some players need to go for, the team to actually be better than they are. Players who don't want to be there anymore. There are some players who don't want to be there. They are only there because they are contract them, but their mind, he don't want to be there already. So they need to make those hard decisions and cut their losses on some of these players, because some of them are not good enough. They just have the egos of Messi and Ronaldo, and yet they have the abilities of, let me not call any names, but their ability is not good enough. So these are some of the decisions they need to make. They need to make these decisions fast as possible, so that the manager will have a proper squad when he goes into the preseason. We know there is no time. The season will be ending this weekend, but there is still the break is not that long, because very soon now they will have to start playing in the preseason games and all of that. The manager will need to sort out players that don't want to be there. You don't want to go into preseason with players that don't want to be there. It's not nice at all for any manager. So what we saw from them in the Europa League final was very poor. The players didn't look like they really wanted it. Bruno Fernandes, whenever he doesn't play well, United don't play well. The manager got his tactics very, very wrong, not spot on, very, very wrong, from the starting 11 to his substitutions, to even when they were going out chasing after the game. They had a chance to bring in more attacking flair players that can actually pick a point for pass. I don't know what Christian Eriksen was doing on the bench when they had most of the ball and Tottenham Hotspur were not looking to leave their half. What they needed to do was bring in players that can actually put in one thing. But guess what? The man still left 3 defenders or 5 defenders on the pitch. You don't do that. Those are rookie mistakes from him, and I believe he will look at himself at the end of it all and said, what I did in this particular final was not just good enough from his own point of view. They had attacking players on the bench. They could have brought them in. Yes, might be their final game of the season. Just bring them in. because Tottenham Hotspur had nothing else to lose. They were sitting back right from the 60th minute or so. All United needed to do was bring in more attacking flair players. But the manager waited to the 70th minute to make his substitution. Kobe Mainoo, this guy scored in the final, in the FA Cup final last year. One of the few bright spots from United season last year. Played in the final of the Euros, but only got 3 minutes in their biggest game of the season. All of these mistakes are the rookie mistakes. The coach, talking about Ruben Amorim, need to rectify going forward. He can't be making mistakes like this as a manager of Man United. You need to find a way to react earlier on, or even make the key big decisions, drop players that are not performing. You can't attack sentiment. I know you might like Mason Mount, but if he's not delivering, you take him out. This decision that he didn't make might likely cost him his job. Though the owners are saying that they are willing to keep him, they are willing to back him, but now there's a big decision because some of the fans already have turned on him. Those that have not turned on him are still waiting to see, okay, let's have your preseason. Let's see what you're able to do in the first few months, because the pressure is already on him. Going into next season, even if he remains there are going to be fans that are saying, okay, we are going to give you from now to September. And if from now to September you don't start delivering on the results, you might just get the chop. You might just become the first manager to be sacked. So these are some of the key decisions Ruben Amorim will need to make. He will need to make. The owners need to back him. If they are going to bring in the manager without, backing him in January, at least in the summer now, they can actually do a proper clear out and then bring in the manager, players who the manager wants. I also have this issue with players who the manager wants, because I think United should have a system that works with winning trophies. It doesn't, because what happens if Ruben Amorim brings in the players right now, his own players, and it doesn't work out, and next thing they go into the market and bring in another manager and he says, these players, I don't want them, this player doesn't fit my style. So this is some of the reasons, or some of the issues I have with managers that only have one kind of style, one kind of philosophy. It's either this hill I will die on, this kind of formation or bust. I don't like managers like that. But with Ruben Amorim, I'm still willing to give him a chance. He needs to work together with the recruitment team and get technical players. United don't have players that can hold on to the ball. Players are scared to hold on to the ball more than 5 seconds. They need technical players who are calm in possession, players who can beat opponent press, players that can actually think before make those passes. So these are some of the things they need. They need ball carriers. Like Matheus Cunha is going to be a very good addition to the team. Somebody can carry the ball. Somebody can beat a man that has an eye for goal, that wants to assist. And also, yes, work hard off the ball. These are the kind of players they need. They don't have that. What they have are players that are scared. Players that the technical ability of some of them is very, very poor. Then you add their mentality as well. This team gave Manchester City a treble when they could have stopped City from winning the FA Cup and stopped City from winning the treble. And now they are the team that have given Tottenham Hotspur a trophy since 2012. So these are some of the issues. Big summer ahead. But if you're asking me, should Ruben Amorim be backed? Should he stay? Should he remain at there? I said yes. This is my own take. I think he should be given a fair chance. Let's see what he's able to do in the summer. I don't normally attach sentiment to managers anymore. If you're not good enough, fire him. But I think maybe he should be given the summer and let's see what he's able to do with his own players. At least then we can start saying, okay, you have your players, you're not able to deliver anything. But anyone that is saying sack him or don't give him a chance, that person actually concern is justified. You actually have a very good right, you have a very good argument when you say you don't want him to stay. So, but for me, my own personal view is that the man should stay and should be given another chance to make the right what has happened this season. 6 wins from 26 is unacceptable at a club at Manchester United. Losing 14 games in the Premier League and finishing 16 is unacceptable. Like I said, heads should be ruled. People should be losing their job for what has happened this season. But let's keep our fingers crossed and see what the owners are going to will be willing to do or looking to do. My name is Mohammed Abdul Hamid, and this is the Alan Smith. This is the Football with Alan Smith podcast. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Please go ahead, share, like, and subscribe as well. And let's do it again some other time. See you guys soon. Bye bye.